This video is practically just a welcoming video. Really trying to just start a YouTube channel that's catered to Star Wars, my thoughts and opinions on Star Wars, thoughts and opinions that people may not like, thoughts and opinions that people may like, people that may agree with me, disagree with me, that's fine. I'm all up for debate. But the channel is solely just to have more opinion-based action out there, more content, especially content that needs to be heard. The fan base is so divided in a terms where none of us can really agree on a certain point of view. That's fine, not everyone's going to have a same view as another person, but at the same time, it seems like both sides in this certain subject seem to hate one another, and toxicity from one side affects another side, and toxicity from the other side affects the other side, and it's these two groups of people that are constantly clashing and warring, when at the end of the day we are all Star Wars lovers. We don't hate Star Wars. We all love Star Wars as a whole, and we just care about its future. We care about what we watch. We care about what we have watched. We care about what we will watch. We care about what we want to watch, what we want to read, what we want to see in the future coming from Lucasfilm, things like that. But essentially, two groups that need to agree to disagree and realize these are two points of views. Sorry, 2 points of views that, again, create so much diversity, and us as Star Wars fans haven't taken it upon ourselves to really realize we are human beings with our own opinions. What I say about one thing isn't going to be exactly what you say about another thing. My opinion, like in this certain subject, would be the opinions between episodes 7, 8, and 9, the sequel trilogy compared to the prequels. I say, in my terms, that the prequels were better than the sequels. I say that they were better. I didn't say that the sequels were bad. The sequels are still canon at the end of the day. They still promote story, but they didn't progress what I thought was really imagined for George Lucas's views. But then again, on another side, just because I think it's not, what George Lucas really saw, doesn't change the fact that it was a good movie. They were good movies. They were good movies. They were decent movies. I enjoyed watching them. At the end of the day, they were decent movies. And, you can't change that. I loved going in there, being able to watch Star Wars movies again, And to me, the prequels, again, were better. But that's in my point of view. That's in my mindset. I feel like the sequels didn't exactly do justice to certain characters that should have been done justice. Certain examples like, I don't know, Leia not really, in one point was not exactly, when Han dies, just passes Chewbacca like, hey, Han died, but there was no interaction between those two. She kind of just walked past him without even a glance, without even a nod. Like, there was no interaction. But even though, you know what I mean, they were very familiar with one another in, prequels. Again, at the end of the day, that's my point of view. I think the sequels didn't do justice to all the characters that they should have, but at the end of the day, they had good points, had an okay story. And from here, all we can do is really progress. I do not believe that these should be retconned. At least I do not fully believe that they should be retconned. If they got retconned, of course I wouldn't be butthurt over it. This is Star Wars at the end of the day. Anything that I think will help Star Wars progress is good. The good and the bad, because the prequels had things about it that completely didn't make sense either, that were hateable, debatable, and, you know, caused diverse, you know, opinion in the Star Wars fandom. So the prequels are doing essentially what the sequels were doing, but everybody's in an uproar for certain points of views. I've been called sexist or racist, toxic, you know, all of these certain labels for not exactly liking the sequels. I'm not even saying that I didn't like them, because I did like them. I enjoyed watching the movies, but again, I think the prequels are better than the sequels, but that doesn't mean that I didn't like them. I didn't love them. I liked them. I didn't love them. That's probably better terms. You know, that's just what this channel is really about. It's hopefully to try and start to bring both sides into an agreement. You know, this isn't going to be a big channel. It's not going to be a massive one. Obviously, I'm not looking at 1,000, you know, subscribers within 2 months. But, you know, I'm just hoping that my videos can eventually reach it out there, and people can see that I'm just trying to mesh people together and have people realize that viewpoints are okay. At the end of the day, we're all Star Wars lovers. There's not one side or the other. There's just one group of people. We all love Star Wars, and we want Star Wars to go on. We want Star Wars to progress. And that's for all millennials. That's for all, you know, older generation people. Everyone that's been, you know, alive, that's in their 60s, that have been alive since the first, you know, the first movie came out. First Star Wars movie. I mean, in the end, we all love Star Wars. And I almost tear up and cry at the end of each Star Wars movie that I rewatch. I just rewatched Clone Wars. I cried at the end of it, just because Star Wars impacted my life that much. Star Wars impacted my viewpoints that much. You know, sometimes these connections that we all have to certain characters really dictate our personalities. Some people saw Rey as a, you know, character with no character development, with no flaws, with, you know, no progression in her, no real progression in her story. That's what some people believe. But on my side, I can kind of see that, but at the same time, I don't. I did see some flaws that Rey had. I saw some trials and tribulation that Rey came upon, but at the same time, I also found things that she progressed at really well that weren't great. Rey as a character was an okay character, and I liked her. I didn't love her. I liked her. Again, the story also didn't progress the greatest in the sequels either. Some things that were too spontaneous and thrown in the span of a moment. I mean, it's like, you know, and Episode 9, hey, here's a knife that happens to have ancient runes on it. Here's let's throw this creature in here that can happen to recode C-3PO's mind so that he can read ancient Sith. When there was, to me, I hadn't seen anything that showed that C-3PO could even read ancient Sith. Obviously, it went against his protocols, so I don't think he even knew about it, but at the same time, some things were just thrown in there for the span of the moment to help to try and progress the story that I felt were unneeded. Again, at the end of the day, it just progressed this. It tried to progress the story. That was my viewpoint. Was there's too many spontaneous things just thrown in randomly in these movies. And that's to say that random shit wasn't thrown into the prequels either. But again, I also grew up on the prequels more than the sequels. Some people that grew up on the sequels before the prequels have different viewpoints. And I don't hate someone that loves the sequels. I don't. Because we're all Star Wars lovers. Each character affects us in a certain way. Rey affects some people differently than Luke Skywalker affects me. Luke Skywalker, to me, whenever I first watched Empire Strikes Back with my father, when he first got into Star Wars. Well, when I first got into Star Wars, I didn't really exactly know what Star Wars was until I was probably 6 years old. But I remember my father used to have his favorite character being Darth Vader. Darth Vader being my second favorite, character. I see all the flaws. I see all the trials he's gone through. I see his flaws. He's a very flawed character. So is Luke, but all of them are. Every one of them could arguably be a flawed character. To a certain extent, to a certain point. Most of them have had character development and, things like that. Anyway, I got off track. I remember my dad used to have a whole bunch of Star Wars equipment, and we had a very old house. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, but he did his best to try and provide for us. But at the same time, he also wanted to feed his Star Wars obsessions. So he would search for deals, search for things cheap that he really, really wanted, such as master replica grade lightsabers. He wanted helmets. He collected and created his 501st Darth Vader outfit, all the way from the soundboard and the sound modules to, his lightsaber. He built a 501st Darth Vader lightsaber, He did these things because of his drive and his fuel from Star Wars and watching the prequels. And just like him, I relate to Darth Vader because of the amount of anger that I've had over the years for certain things. But then I see it from Luke Skywalker's perspective, where he has like an unconditional love for everyone, and he's learned to balance his hatred and his kindness, his anger, his aggression, with his calm, delightful. He's able to use dark side abilities without succumbing to the dark side, where he's using both the light and the dark at the same time to mix and to create one whole thing. And that's why I think people should be like Luke. I feel like the Star Wars universe needs to be like Luke. Us as fans, we need to be like Luke. On one side, we have the sequel lovers. On another side, we have the prequel lovers. We all just need to mesh together and realize these are just point of views. nothing should be taken from these words, from our points of views, as malicious, aggressive, angry. None of it should be taken that way. And I want this YouTube channel, even if my views aren't great, even if it reaches some people, I want people to realize we're all Star Wars lovers at the end of the day. Cool. So that was the first video. That's gonna be great.